I love 1911s. 2011s are my favorite pistols. So 16 rounds of 10 millimeter and a double stack 1911. Yes, please. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today I've got a very fun video for you guys. A new pistol review. Something that I've wanted to review for a long time. You guys know how much I love 1911s. You know how much I love 2011s. Well, this is the Rock Island Tac Ultra 10 millimeter double stack 1911. I mean, do I need to say more? 10 millimeter 2011. This thing is pretty sweet. We're going to talk all about it. I'm going to show shooting footage. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you're subscribed. So we did have one failure to feed right there, but it is 10 degrees out here, so maybe that had something to do with it. Much better. So as I said in the intro, I love 1911s. I especially love double stack 1911s because the only real downside to the 1911, in my opinion, is the capacity. You get 7 or 8 rounds in a 45 ACP 1911, 9 or 10 rounds in a 9 millimeter. But in the last few years, we have seen a proliferation of 2011 style guns, starting with Staccato. And then now there's a bunch of really high-end ones. You've got Nighthawk, you've got Atlas Gunworks, things like that. And then we had things like Springfield Armory come out with like the Prodigy. And now we're getting some more affordable 2011s. But those are mostly all chambered in 9 millimeter. And your traditional 1911 is generally chambered in 45 ACP. And so there's always been this debate, 9 versus 45. Well, I think that debate can be ended with 10 millimeter. 1911s are traditionally chambered in 45 ACP. 2011s are generally in 9 millimeter. So there's a big debate about 9 versus 45, but it's really hard to argue with 10 millimeter. The Rock Island Tac Ultra FS threaded barrel 10 millimeter double stack 1911. This thing, I'm not sure if it's set up for competition. It does have a nice big mag well on it, which sure does make speedy reloads extremely easy. It's also got a threaded barrel, so you can put a suppressor on it if you want. Other than that, it's a 1911, but a 1911 with features. It's got your rail, and not just like a one slot Glock rail, but an actual real Picatinny rail. So you can put on probably whatever light, whatever laser that you want on this thing. The only thing it's really missing is an optics cut, but it's got really good sights. And so I didn't really find that to be a problem. It's got an ambidextrous safety that feels really good. And it's got a 1911 trigger. Although the trigger is a little bit heavy. But it's still that straight back pull. Nice and crisp. It's got a great reset. And I had no problem shooting it pretty well. It also really, really handles the recoil of 10 millimeter very well. Now, do you need to know about 10 millimeter? Do I need to go into the whole thing with 10 millimeter? There is a bit of history there where the FBI got in a shootout and they found that 9 millimeter, and this was in the 80s, didn't quite put the bad guys down the way they hoped it would. So then they went to 10 millimeter, but people couldn't handle, their agents couldn't handle the recoil of the 10 millimeter. So then they invented 40 Smith & Wesson. And we all know how much 40 Smith & Wesson kind of sucks. Well, 10 millimeter, there are a lot of loadings This is what I was shooting today, is the S&B. It's a flat nose, 10 millimeter loading, but you can get 10 millimeter that's basically just it's loaded with like powder, like a 40 Smith & Wesson, or you can get real full power 10 millimeter. And full power 10 millimeter, you are going to feel the recoil in it, but it's going to have that stopping power. Rock Island Armory has been making quality 1911s for a very long time. And I've always wanted to try one of their double stacks. And so I'm just really glad I get to today. This thing is super cool. I've done a lot of videos about the Springfield Prodigy. It's chambered in 9mm, and a lot of the comments that I got from people were, tell me when it comes out in 10mm. Well, this isn't a Springfield Prodigy, but this has been out, I believe, longer than that has, and it's in 10mm, and it's a double stack. You get a 16+1 capacity of 10mm in a 1911 platform, a full-size, government-length 1911. It's a big, heavy gun. But that's what you want with a 10mm because it just soaks up the recoil. And honestly, this thing didn't feel like snappy or like it had any kind of a violent recoil impulse at all to me. In fact, it shot really, really well. Now, I did have a few reliability issues with it. I put 100 rounds through it today, and I did have failures to feed a couple of times. Now, it might have been due to the fact that it was 10 degrees out when I was shooting. It was very cold. And it might have been due to the fact that 10mm ammo is all flat nose ammo for the most part, except for, hollow points. And so, it's pretty easy for something like that to get caught up on a feed ram. It also could be due to the fact that this is not my gun. And so I have no idea really how much the actual owner of this pistol has cleaned and oiled the thing. By the way, this was loaned to me by my good friend Ryan. Thank you very much, Ryan. This is a very exciting pistol, and I really appreciate being able to do a video on it. So the Rock Island Tac Ultra comes in a nice hard case, lockable. Has all the regular stuff. I don't need to go over the lock and all that. Comes with every gun that you purchase. 16 round magazines that are good for 40 Smith & Wesson or 10mm. In fact, it even says 40 S&W on the magazine. But check out this thing. I mean, it really does look good. And we're going to back this out a little bit. I feel like it's kind of set up for competition with this big magwell. I'm not a competition shooter, so I don't know all the rules, if this would fit in the IDPA box or the USPSA box or any of that stuff. Not really my area of expertise. But I know that a lot of those competitions aren't allowed optics, and so maybe the fact that it's not cut for an optic has to do with something like that. This will run full-powered 10mm. It'll run not as full-powered 10mm. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is full-powered or not. 180 grain S&B is what I was shooting today, and it was easy to shoot that round out of this, and it seemed to cycle it just fine. As far as the gun itself goes, like I said, full 5-slot Picatinny rail, so you can put any lights, lasers, whatever you feel like on there. It's got very usable front and rear slide serrations. It does have a very strong recoil spring in it, especially compared to like my Springfield Prodigy, which I have an 8-pound recoil spring in. This one definitely takes a little bit more muscle to rack the slide. It's got great 3-dot sights that are dovetailed in, so you can change them out if you want. It's got a fiber optic front with 2 white dots in the rear. Really good sighting setup, easy to use. The safety feels great on this. In fact, I like the safety on this better than the one on my Prodigy. It's just very tactile when you put it on fire or on safe. And it's ambidextrous, which is really nice. The grips are pretty good. Although I think I would like a little bit more texture on the front strap. The back strap has 20 lines per inch machining, and it's got a nice memory bump on your beaver tail grip safety. So I never once had an issue engaging that grip safety with a proper grip on the firearm. Again, I've mentioned this already twice, I believe, but it does have a threaded barrel. Ooh, that thing is on there tight. With a thread protector. So if you wanted to suppress this, you could do that. That is pretty sweet. I would have loved to run this suppressed, but my only suppressor is a 30 cal suppressor with the wrong thread pitch for this, and I don't have a booster for a pistol anyway. But other than that, I think it's a pretty dang good looking 1911, 2011, double stack 1911, whatever you want to call it, because technically 2011 is a registered trademark of Staccato, but 2011s, 1911s, they just look good, and so does this. It is a big gun. It's heavy, and the grip is freaking huge. I remember when I got my first 1911, and then I heard that double stack 1911s were a thing, that they existed, and I got really excited, and I really, really wanted one. And eventually I got this, the Springfield Prodigy, and it's now my favorite pistol that I own. Well, I did a lot of research before I got that, and this was one of the guns that I looked at, although not in 10 millimeter. And so when my buddy Ryan told me that he had a 10 millimeter double stack 1911 that he would let me do a review on, I was extremely excited about it. And again, Ryan, thank you. This thing is really, really cool. It's a really actually fun, easy gun to shoot, which surprised me a little bit. I've shot other 10 millimeters where they don't handle the recoil quite as well. This one handles the recoil of 10 millimeter very well. I didn't find it difficult to shoot at all, and it was a pretty fun gun to shoot. It's very accurate. You can't quite, well, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about that. But let me know down in the comments if you want me to do a comparison video between this double stack and this double stack 1911. 10 millimeter versus 9 millimeter. And I'll bring you guys that video next week. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think about a 10 millimeter double stack 1911, or just if you have experience with Rock Island 1911s in general. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I answer every comment. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.